How did your parents handle your disability? My twin sister Callie and I were both born deaf, but our parents refused to let us learn sign language because they said we'd never be normal if we gave in to disability. So we spent our entire childhoods desperately mouthing words we couldn't hear and getting beaten for using our hands to communicate. My earliest memory is sitting in a cold speech therapy office with hands pressing on my throat, trying to make sounds I couldn't hear. The therapist would hold our faces and move our mouths like puppets while Mom watched from a chair in the corner. Callie would cry, and I'd watch the tears roll down her face, wanting to reach out but knowing I couldn't. They put us in speech therapy 8 hours a day. The therapist would press our tongues down with popsicle sticks, forcing them into positions that might create the right noises. She'd make us breathe on mirrors and watch the fog, trying to control air we couldn't hear coming out. Callie threw up once from gagging on the stick and had to keep going with vomit still on her shirt. We'd go home with our jaws aching and our throats raw from screaming sounds into the void. The first time I got punished for using my hands, we were 6, and I just wanted to point at the toy I wanted. Such a simple thing, pointing. But Dad saw me and crossed the room in 3 strides. He grabbed my wrist and bent it backwards until I screamed. Animals use their hands, he said, his mouth moving in that exaggerated way. Humans use words. I couldn't tell him it hurt because I didn't know how to make those sounds yet. After that, they started tying our hands behind our backs during meals. We had to eat like dogs, faces in our plates, while they sat normally and talked to each other in conversations we couldn't follow. Callie learned to pick up her fork with her teeth. I went hungry most nights because I couldn't manage it. The rope left marks on our wrists that we had to hide at school. School was its own special hell. They enrolled us in a regular hearing school and told the administration we could lip read perfectly. We couldn't. Teachers would turn to write on the board while talking and we'd miss everything. Kids thought we were stupid because we never answered questions right. I'd watch their mouths move like fish and guess wildly at what they wanted. Callie developed a twitch from straining so hard to understand. When we were 10, I discovered other deaf kids existed when I saw a group signing on a field trip to the museum. I stared at them until Mom noticed and dragged us away. That night, she made us stand facing the wall for hours as punishment for watching those people. Soon, they installed cameras in our room to catch us communicating at night. The first month, they caught Callie and me creating our own crude gestures. Not real sign language, just desperate attempts to share our thoughts. Dad made us watch him delete the footage, then put our hands on the hot stove burner. Not long enough to cause real damage, just enough to make us remember. The message was clear. By 13, Callie had stopped trying to speak entirely. She'd move her mouth when forced, but no sound came out. Mom hired a specialist who used electric shocks to stimulate her vocal cords. I had to sit outside the room listening to my sister's screams, the only sound she made anymore. When that didn't work, they tried surgery to fix her throat. The doctor found nothing wrong because of course there wasn't. Our throats were fine. Our ears were the problem, but we weren't eligible for cochlear implants, so they couldn't fix those. I broke when we were 15. Callie had been sick for days but couldn't tell anyone what was wrong. She kept holding her stomach, her face twisted in pain, but our parents ignored her attention-seeking behavior. She tried to draw on paper where it hurt, but Mom threw it away. Finally, she collapsed at dinner. At the hospital, they discovered her appendix had burst. She'd been dying in front of us, unable to communicate her pain. While Callie was in surgery, I lost it completely. I didn't know sign language, but I used every gesture I could think of to show the nurses what our parents had done. I pointed at my ears, shook my head, mimed tying hands, pretended to cry. I acted out years of abuse with my body while my parents watched in horror. A nurse who knew some sign tried to communicate with me, and when I couldn't respond properly, she understood something was very wrong. The surgeon came out looking grim. Callie had survived, but barely. The infection had spread because she'd suffered for so long. As they explained the months of recovery ahead, I grabbed a pen and paper from the nurse's station and wrote, "We are deaf. Parents won't let us sign. My sister almost died. Please help us." The nurse's face changed as she read it. She looked at my parents, then back at me. "How long has this been going on?" she asked, making sure I could see her mouth. I held up 10 fingers, then 5, our whole lives. But when I turned around, my parents were already on their phones with their lawyers. Dad's mouth was moving fast. That way it did when he was really angry. I watched them work to destroy my plea for help and wondered if Callie and I would survive long enough to escape them. Full story on the channel below.